Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today for the RZ ClearDocs webinar. We're going to learn all about the new tool, get a demonstration from Thomas Jean, hear a little bit from me as well, like we always do. Um, but yeah, I'm just going to give it a minute or two to let everyone file in before we get all the way started. So I appreciate your patience for just a minute or two. All right, I believe it's slowing down, so I'm going to go ahead and kick off my little slideshow here. Happy Thursday, everybody. Your host for today's webinar will be myself, Hannah Shramsky, Marketing Specialist. I'm probably a familiar face by now if you've been to one of our webinars before. And we are happy to be joined by Thomas Jean, Program Manager at Revize. He's done a couple sessions with us if you saw our AI chatbot webinar or a couple of others. So you may know Thomas as well. Our agenda for today's webinar are we're going to introduce you to RZ ClearDocs, the brand new accessibility solution from Revize. So I just have a few introductory slides to get through here, and then I'm going to pass it off to Thomas. He's here to give us a demonstration of the tool in action so you can see just how incredible it really is. And then we're going to open up the floor to questions, how we normally do. I'll have you guys, you can throw questions in the chat as we go through the webinar. Feel free to drop them as soon as you have them. But we will get to answering all of them at the very end once we're done with Thomas's demonstration. So we just appreciate your patience in getting to all those questions at the end. A little bit of housekeeping before we go any further. The recording of today's webinar will be uploaded to the Revize website. It'll be on the webinars webpage on revize.com. So you can share it with a colleague who maybe couldn't make it to the live session today or go back and review it anytime. Again, we'll be doing our Q&A at the end of the webinar session, but don't be scared to throw those questions in the chat as we go through the demonstration. Be sure to follow us on social media and sign up for our newsletter. Our newsletter is how you'll receive any future webinar registration communication. So you can scan that QR code on the edge of your screen, and it'll take you to our company link tree where you can follow us on your preferred social media platform. Go to our website and check out our blog, watch old webinars, whatever you'd like to do. And if you would like to sign up for the newsletter and you aren't already, it'll be on revize.com. You'll just scroll to the bottom of the homepage, and on the bottom right-hand side of your computer, you'll see a little submission box where you can put your email address and you will effectively be signed up. So you won't miss any of our future sessions. A little bit about Revize if you're not familiar with us. We've been in the industry for over 25 years, and over that time, we've built a really developed and diverse team. We specialize in beautiful, accessible, and functional website design and web applications for local government entities. And we're headquartered in Metro Detroit, Michigan, but we are proud to serve government agencies all across the country. So let's talk about today's webinar topic. What actually is RZ ClearDocs? It is an automated PDF to HTML accessibility solution that transforms website PDFs on demand. So this helps ensure that your public documents are easier to read, searchable, and more aligned with modern accessibility standards. Also, if you're with us today and you're not currently a Revize client, don't worry, RZ ClearDocs can be added to any website. The key benefits of this new tool include, of course, the automated PDF to HTML conversion, the mobile responsive searchable content that it provides, the improved accessibility for screen readers and other assistive tech, scalable processing for high document volumes, and ongoing coverage for newly uploaded PDFs. I'm sure you guys are uploading documents to your website all the time, so this would be helpful for that. And some other key features of RZ ClearDocs, some of these are really cool. It has a document outline feature, language translation, downloading files, page summarization, super helpful for saving time for residents, and the Ask Questions feature. ClearDocs can actually search documents and provide answers to users instantly, just like an AI chatbot. So I did want to briefly mention the new adjustment of ADA compliance deadlines since this is a web accessibility tool that we're talking about today. I'm sure most of you are already aware, but did just want to make mention. A new DOJ rule was published about a week and a half ago that extended the federal ADA compliance deadlines for local and federal government web content and mobile apps for one extra year. So if your population of your entity is greater than 50,000, you have until 2027, about a year from now, April 2027. And if your population is less than 50,000, you have until April 2028. So everyone got an extra year for their ADA compliance deadlines. However, this deadline change does not necessarily mean you should suddenly pump the brakes on virtual accessibility goals. The time is being provided to you because more time is necessary for it to be achieved. It's a big job. So in the meantime, you can continue learning about and investing in web accessibility to benefit both your team and your residents. So being here today is a, great way to keep doing that. I also like to mention all of our accessibility services that we offer our clients. Of course, today we're talking about RZ ClearDocs, but we also have an ADA compliant scan and fix service, which helps with ongoing RCAG remediation that we would do for you and take that off of your plate. We have an accessibility checker built into the CMS. Last webinar session, we talked about RZ Assist. It's an accessibility widget by us and scan tool that's designed to provide full control to site visitors and detect WCAG compliance issues. We also offer a PDF remediation service if you're interested. We have an AI alt tag generator that helps generate descriptive alt text for images when they're uploaded into the CMS, and then an AI content generator as well. So if you're interested in RZ ClearDocs or any of those services that I just mentioned, just be sure to book a demo with us. You can go to our website on our Contact Us page and just book a quick demo and get pricing that way. Or if you're a current client and you're familiar with your account manager, you can always reach out to them for pricing info. They can get that to you ASAP. You can reach out to me, Hannah at revize.com, that was listed on the previous slide, or Thomas, whatever your preferred way is. You could reach out to the person who sent you the registration for today's webinar, whatever way is easiest for you. Just be sure to contact us and we can get you all the pricing information that you need. And be sure to stay connected with Revize. Like I said, you can sign up for our newsletter so you won't miss any of our future webinar registrations. In a month, we're going to be doing a closer look at the Revize newsletter app. So if you've been wanting to sort of create a closer connection with your community and maybe start a newsletter for your town or city or whatever municipality or organization you're with, you can learn all about our Revize newsletter app. It's really wonderful. So I'll be doing that on May 21st. We'll also soon be introducing the new redesigned Agenda Builder app, and I'll make sure to be doing continued online accessibility education and providing those resources as the year goes on. Because like we said, that is still definitely a priority for everybody. So thank you everyone for listening to me. I'm going to stop sharing my screen. We're at the end of my presentation, and I'm going to pass it off to Thomas.
All right. Well, thank you all for joining, and thank you, Hannah. Hannah is much more eloquent and articulate than I am. So, my name is Thomas Jean. I've been with Revize 13 years actually next week. So it's all I've really done, and we've kind of seen the accessibility landscape change and move. And of course, we were all surprised earlier this month when the deadline was extended. So it does give us additional time to get everything dialed in and get as highly accessible as possible. So. This is going to be a relatively short demonstration, so if you all want to start throwing questions in the chat, go for it. And then, of course, afterward, we can talk individually and show you the tool one-on-one as well. So here we have the city of Holiday, Utah, and a little bit of background when it comes to what we're talking about today. So this ClearDocs tool takes your PDFs and creates an HTML version of those PDFs. This is what's known as a conforming alternative according to the DOJ mandate. Now, it is a very strict criteria, and one of the most strict things about it is it needs to be as accessible or more accessible than the accessible PDF would otherwise be. So the images have to be described properly. Obviously, all the text has to be there. Anything within that document that that we can all read, of course, needs to be shown and accessible. So if we go to their Find Applications and Forms page, and we go to, say, this fencing permit, what will happen is the tool is already, of course, installed on the site. it'll first bring up the PDF itself, the raw PDF. Now, whether that PDF right now is accessible or not does not matter for whether this tool can work or not. Now, in a perfect world, of course, all of your PDFs would be accessible to their core. But of course, we have deadlines and we have a time, of course, that is of the essence. So here we got the PDF. At the very top right, you click accessible text view, and it has already converted this now to a HTML version of that PDF. This is what's known as the conforming alternative according to the DOJ. Now, of course, you see a bunch of text there. Obviously, I'm not going to read every piece of it. What's really important, where these tools really lacked or really fell short, 6 months or 8 months or so ago, is that they would do a pretty bad job when it came to images. When we built this tool, our goal now and then and always is high accuracy, including the images. So as we're building it, we told our developers it's got to be extremely accurate. So if we take this PDF and we see these kind of handwritten, drawn charts, it looks like we've got this image here. An accessible alternative would have to properly describe this image of this, overhead aerial view of this house. So if we go to the accessible text view and we scroll down to the bottom, we see that it has a description of the image saying simplified illustration of fence placement on a property map. That is what makes this highly, highly accessible as per the mandate. When we install this, we install it on your website. It'll scan your entire website and find all the PDFs uploaded to it. Typical ramp up time frame is about a week or less, depending on how many we have in the queue. And it covers all the existing PDFs that are posted to your website. As you post new PDFs to the website, it will find and convert those as well. So as you add new ones, those will be converted for you automatically as well. So this is the city of Holiday, Utah. Another client of ours here is Buena Park, California. And we got their city charter here. And if you see or view this document, you'll of course see some text, and you'll also see some handwriting here. Now, if you look really closely, you may be able to break out what that says. I guessed correctly initially, and let me go back here. Oops. And it says, pull it back up, sorry about that. At the very top here, I thought it said index 58 and 74, 58 of 74. If we click the accessible text view, it was index 58 and 74. So this is an example where one could argue that it is now more compliant than that raw PDF because it displayed the cursive language that I had trouble reading into real definitive text. So that is Buena Park. Another one of our clients that's got it installed already is the village of Tinley Park, Illinois. Tinley Park is one of our longtime clients. We're actually redesigning their website right now. They've been with us a number of years. So although still beautiful, this design will be changing soon. But anyway, in the meantime, we've already installed the RZ ClearDocs tool on their site. And if you go to some of their agendas or their packets, and you click here, you'll see the tool in use there. And of course, this one looks like almost 70 pages. We click accessible text view, and there you have it there. So this is essentially creating a web page with the information from the PDF on that web page. Now, on the very left-hand side here, we've got a document outline. So this is created dynamically when the conversion takes place. So it outlines what's happening in this document. Here you can ask it a question. So if this is a really long agenda and you're like, hey, I just want to know, was XYZ approved? You could say, you could ask that. So let me find something. I don't know. Let's go with, were the minutes approved? It's the most basic question I could think of. Were the minutes approved during this meeting? So you ask it a question, it looks through that file, and then we'll provide a response if there's relevant info. So basically, yes. Here we got language translation. So you can convert into any of these languages here. Here you can download the original document and or the accessible version. So you can download both. And then here we have a document summarization. So using a bit of AI, it summarizes the document for you as well. So these are some extras. These don't necessarily make it more compliant, but if you're going to do this, these are helpful little things that are included. Now, again, our main goal with this tool is speed and most importantly, accuracy, and that will remain the goal. However, we are going to continue to make improvements. We're going to add things and make it as best as it possibly can be. We've got a ton of developers working on this constantly, so this is one of our major focuses right now, and will continue to be in the future. So that is RZ ClearDocs. We will link a bunch of examples for you all to go take a look at if you have some time. And I do encourage you all to take a look and find some documents, find some ones you think are that might push the tool to its limits, and do the conversion and take a look and see for yourself. And all these are publicly viewable, so you can take a look when you're ready. So I think that covers what I wanted to talk about on the demo itself. I know I mentioned it's going to be relatively short, so if we want to go through Q&As, we will go ahead and do that right now. I may not be able to get through all of them, and I may not know the answers to them. We will follow up individually with every single one of you if we missed you. So, okay, probably the most common question we get is, does ClearDocs attach to third-party documents on your website or third-party websites? The answer is yes, with some caveats. In some cases, a third-party vendor will not allow us to do it, or technically it's not reasonably achievable. For example, we had a county that had an internal database of a bunch of files that this database was built years and years and years ago, and it has all these scripts running in it that pretty much prevent our tool from working. That's going to be a similar case to other vendors that might have this a tool like this. So what we'll do is, when we quote you or when we implement this, we'll get a list of all the URLs of the third parties that you have documents on, and we will one by one tell you whether those are compatible or not. If not, in many cases, we can pull those files into the tool separately and have them converted there as well. But every situation is unique, and of course, we'll evaluate yours one by one. Okay, let's see. Just scrolling through the questions here. Okay, next question is there a file size or page number limit to what it can convert? Can it read scan text? Yes, it can read scan text. There is not a hard cap on the file size or the page number limit. However, that is a consideration we have when pricing it, is essentially the number of PDF pages. So there may be cases where you've got a 30,000 page document. We literally found one of those before with one of our clients, and you may decide you don't want that as part of the pricing on this tool. You can break documents up, but there is no hard cap. What we don't want to do is, if we can avoid it, we don't want to convert things necessarily that don't need to be converted, although they can be, because some files do not have to be made fully compliant, although you may want to, and it's maybe good for the community to do that. It is a consideration when it comes to pricing. Okay, Emily has a question about loading times being pretty fast. Is that generally the case, or is it faster converting OCR versus non-OCR? Yes, it's very fast, I guess, would be the answer. We do a pre-conversion of everything on your website currently, and then as you add new things, it converts either during a certain time frame, so every day, or upon someone clicking it first. So we can kind of change it based on the use case. And then, of course, based on the size of the document, the conversion can take anywhere from 5 seconds or less to a few minutes or more, depending on how big it is. But of course, those can be pre-converted before you post them as well. Okay, Danielle, I have a question about previous documents prior to the mandated date are considered archived and don't fall into compliance. Anything April 28 and moving forward is required to be accessible, right? That is actually wrong. Many of your documents before the deadline, correct, do not have to be compliant. Some for sure do. So if you, for example, have a PDF of the city code and that is not compliant, although it was made before the deadline, that for sure has to be compliant. The other nuance with it is something may not need to be compliant upon the deadline, but if you then reference it in the future in a relevant way, that then has to be compliant. So you could have a case where something starts out not needing to be compliant, and later it becomes an issue where maybe it's a hot button issue that the board is debating. That does now have to be compliant. So what's nice about automated tools like this is a lot of it you don't have to, not that you don't have to worry about it, but this can cover everything. And those like fringe cases where something didn't need to be compliant now does. This gives you more protection than doing nothing, of course. So good question, and that's what we're hoping the DOJ will clarify as well throughout this next year, is those fringe cases. Because to be quite frank, there's been there's some guesswork out there when it comes to what needs to be compliant, what does not. So we're hoping in this next year that they clarify that. But for the majority of the PDFs on your website, they will need to be compliant, unless you have truly just years and years and years of archive stuff. Okay. Okay. Next question, what LLM is powering this tool? So it's actually a combination of a few different tools. We have versions that run on Gemini, some that run on ChatGPT. It is a closed loop environment, however, so we control how it works. We built it, we maintain it. So we have full control to change it, to modify it, and to really dial this thing in for government clients. So there's that. Next question, are the LLM calls paid for by customers? Basically, each time someone uses it, is it a price per use? It is not. It's basically a flat annual fee. Software as a service for you all. And so that is essentially built in. Okay, good. Another good question. When users are uploading PDFs, can we force them to use ClearDocs? Not only can you, basically, if the tool is on your website, it automatically does it for automatically, so they don't even really have to think about it. They just upload PDFs in the same way they have been. The tool will catch it and convert it. Another great question. You guys all have great questions. Does this apply to all PDFs on the website, or is it selective? Can we archive things that we know basically don't need to be compliant? The answer is yes. So you can exclude files, you can exclude really big files, you can exclude really old files, you can do it by URL. So if we know, hey, this document lives here, let's exclude it. Yes, you can, for sure. So. Yeah, high level overview of the integration process. It's literally just a script that we add into your website. That part takes us 2 minutes. And then depending on how many files you have on the site initially, that conversion could take 2 to 3 days, depending on how many we have in the queue. And then it's done. So there's really no work on your end. We get them set up really quickly and it starts working right away. So it's not a big to do. There's no kickoff meeting or no project phases you have to go through. It's a really quick process. If you already have Revize, is this an additional charge? It is. We do have to pay for some of the tools that we use for it, so it is an additional cost. This is not something we're looking to get rich off of by any means, especially in this landscape. There is a lot of, in my opinion, gouging happening with just in the accessibility world in general. And of course, this is a great improvement, but we don't, our core business, of course, and core thing is making the best websites possible, accessible, beautiful. This tool is intended to help you all with your accessibility for your content. So another good question, do PDFs live in the Revize CMS or it's stored on its own? Technically both, but all you need to know about or care about is that is that the PDFs can still live on your website as they do today. You upload them in the same fashion you do today. This tool just finds them and converts them for you. Another good question. I should stop saying that. Will the AI features work within ClearDocs even if the rest of our site does not have AI or a chat? Yes, the AI in the ClearDocs is separate and apart from the AI, our AI chatbot or other AI tools you might be using now or in the future. Question about a map, we'll send one out. Oh,
It looks
Christina
like
from,
Christina shared and
Christina
yeah,
from Prescott
perfect.
Valley, you have bailed me out. Thank you
Thank
so
you,
much.
Christina.
We were going to send you a trophy. Okay, so here we got a floodplain map. I've never seen this before. And then so we click accessible text view, and it will describe that map for us there. Now, kind of the key one nuance here when it comes to maps or really anything, another one that's kind of similar is what do you do about agenda packets when you have a bunch of other like vendor PDFs and things that are not compliant? This tool will still convert them, but if you did not have this tool, as long as you're explaining above what that document or file is below, that itself is an accessible or accessible as well if you're properly describing it. So that does not mean that you have to literally write out every single road name here. It just has to accurately and completely describe it. So thank you, Christina. There's a map for you all. Another question about a map. Question about official signatures. In that document, one of those ones I converted, there was a signature, I believe. So yeah, so here we got a signature that was converted right there. And that is converted from this down here. Okay. Does Revize offer services that keep the PDF intact, meaning does not convert to HTML and provide proper PDF tagging to make them accessible? Say if I want to keep the file in its current form. Yeah, so you're talking about basically manually remediating the PDF. The answer to that question is yes, we do offer that service. It's basically a per document or per page service that we provide to you. And what we actually recommend is, especially for your high frequency PDFs, we recommend you do that. You know, like I said, in a perfect world, every PDF would be accessible at its core, and this tool would not need to exist. But what most clients are doing is they're putting this tool in place, then they're working their way through manually remediating, especially their highest priority documents first, and then working toward more and more as years go on. So you can do that yourself. We're likely going to have a webinar actually on how to do that here in the future. I just gave Hannah some more work, but we've talked about it. And so you can do that yourself, or of course you can pay us to do it. Now it can get pricey quickly if you've got tens of thousands of PDFs pages. So that is why this tool and others like it are beneficial because it can bridge that gap for you. So. Okay, question about the website specifically. Lots of issues that were flagged on our site were issues within the site's coding. Who do you need to reach out to correct this? You can email support@revize.com or your account manager. Keep in mind, and I hope everyone hears this, every tool will have false positives and will have false negatives. We're talking about PDFs, or excuse me, website scanning tools. You will also get, and I'm sure you all have already, you will get unsolicited scans from vendors left and right from now until at least well beyond this mandate. So prep yourself for that. We have seen some complete nonsense when it comes to these scan tools. We had one client where they were a village. The scan tool said they were a city, and every URL that they referenced in this scan that they gave them did not even exist on the website. So they just blanket sent these scans out, and of course, trying to scare the daylights out of people and getting them to buy some sort of tool. So we are anti that, but if you do have concerns about your website accessibility, reach out to us and we can come up with a plan. So, and again, it does always require some type of human involvement because there's some areas where things may seem not compliant, but they for sure are, or where where you think they're compliant and they're not. So an automated scan tool can only get you so far. So definitely keep that in mind. Okay. Um, Yeah, so navigating the website using not using your keyboard. So that's a big one when it comes to accessibility. And we're kind of veering off a little bit from the doc access. So, but just since we're here, part of the accessibility mandate means you have to be able to navigate your website in a logical way using only your keyboard. So if we go to Hilton Head Island, South Carolina here, and I press the tab button, you see it's kind of working its way logically through the menu system. That is part of the mandate. So someone should be able to get to anything and everything on the website without using a mouse and without getting stuck within a menu or within a web page. So good question there. Emma has a question about, can an HTML file be uploaded instead of a PDF? Technically, the answer is yes, but it might not be allowed on your specific website. So let's, if you want to reach out to us, we can let you know if it's allowed on your specific website. And years ago, we had a lot of clients that actually used to create all their agendas and minutes on the web page themselves. And a lot of them now are happy they did that because those are much easier to make compliant than old PDFs, of course. So, but of course, no one knew that this was coming at that time, so it was more lucky than smart. So, okay, let's see. Okay, Patrick asked, does the uploaded PDF need to already be tagged? And can we talk about this process? It does not need to be. However, whether this tool exists or not, both us and the advocates for accessibility would say, if you can tag it reasonably, go for it and do it, just to make that as accessible as you can at its core. But no, for the tool to work, it does not need to be tagged already. Good question. Is AI remediation all or nothing? Can you manually fix accessibility issues if a mistake is found? The answer right now is no. We don't have a backend for you to go in and one by one change each one. Our goal is to make this so accurate that you won't have to do that. That said, we've gotten that question a few times, so it's not a no forever. It's just a no for right now. And of course, you always have the option to remediate a PDF yourself, and we recommend still doing that, whether you have this tool or not, in, of course, reasonable fashion. Another question, good one from, okay, so we're already paying Revize for remediation services. Is ClearDocs replacing that? No. We have two services that I would call, that I think are the most useful with Revize of many that we have when it comes to accessibility. We have our scan and fix service. That is a person or team of people here actually that scans your website at regular intervals and remediates issues that we find. Most of the time, that is website specific issues only, not PDFs. Now, sometimes we get a website that's so dialed in and highly compliant, and it hasn't like new issues haven't come up, that we will then dive into PDFs. But for the most case, that scan and fix service is directed at your website specifically, not the PDFs or your content. This tool, the ClearDocs tool, is specifically built for your PDFs. So keep that in mind. And with any website, whether it's a Revize website or not, they can kind of slowly creep out of compliance if you're not careful. So what that scan and fix service does is puts our team in charge of actually finding those issues as they come up and fixing them on the fly. And again, the human element of that, knowing that, hey, three tools said this was non-compliant, but we know for sure it is, that human element is helpful. So, okay. And I know we're kind of past the time. I'll answer a few more questions, and I do want to let you all go and be respectful of your time. But any additional questions that come in, you can, of course, reach out, and we'll answer all of them one by one. What about pictures? Someone asked. Yes, it does get pictures. If you missed it, we showed a picture of that. It was an overhead aerial view of. Let's get to it here. So what happens when you have too many tabs open? So it's an overhead aerial view. Hold on, we're getting there. This one. So we were looking at the fencing permit for the city here. And we've got this image here at the bottom, this photo. Let's call it a house with some grid lines or fence lines around it. So we'll click accessible text view. And it properly describes it. So simplified illustration of fence placement on a property map. If you're considering any tools that do not handle images and writing, that tool is essentially useless. So you definitely, whether you're using ours or another tool, which few good ones exist, I'll say, um, this is crucial that it describes images properly. Um, What's the cost associated with this? That's a big question. We have to do a scan of your website and we have to find out any third-party websites you want this to cover. And then we'll get you an estimate. And it basically, one of the big pricing factors is a total number of PDF pages that you want this thing to work on, whether you want it the whole site and multiple sites or just a piece of your site. So um, it is dynamic. But again, like I said, we're not trying to get rich off of this. We're trying to be more than market competitive here and just offer it as a service because we know a lot of our clients are anxious about this deadline, especially when it comes to the content that you've all created over the years. There's just mountains of it in some cases. And although, again, ideally you would remediate every single PDF one by one by one, this is a way to be more accessible while being able to still prioritize the high frequency PDFs there. So to reach out for a quote, just email interested@revize.com. If you want to CC me, just thomas@revize.com. I'll get you the right spot. But interested@revize.com. Is there a location where you can find more information? Yeah, email us. We got a bunch of flyers. We got a bunch of resources that talk about why this is an accessible alternative as well, which is helpful. We are going to share the webinar. It's going to be recorded or has been recorded. We're recording right now. And that will end up on our YouTube channel, and I think we'll send it out to everyone that joined. Hannah, is that right or no?
It'll be on our website
Okay,
for
so it's on
anyone
our
to
website. Usually
access
within
whenever.
what, a few days or when?
Yeah, by the end of the day today or tomorrow before lunchtime. And also, Thomas, if you don't mind clicking into the Q&A box, I saw there's some questions in there just to see if there's any you can answer off the top of your head right now.
Where is that?
It's at the bottom bar and it says Q&A
Oh, I see. Oh,
question.
fancy. Okay, cool. We use Teams most of the time here, so Zoom is really up
He's
their game.
learning.
All right, so Q&A. Sergio wants a link for the recording. Yep, we'll get that out. Fillable PDF forms. We'll definitely get an example out to you all. How are official signatures handled? Covered that. They do get converted. Now, if it's a literal scribble that's illegible to even the human eye, that's going to just say signature, but that itself is conforming. We do have a VPAT for this for sure. Pricing structure we covered. Yeah, and then yep, so we covered those. So yeah, so we'll compile all these questions. We'll get back to you all individually for any ones that I missed with accurate answers. I don't want to give you all inaccurate information if I don't know for sure. So we'll get these to you. Obviously reach out if you have questions, if you want to quote, or you just want to go more in depth with us one-on-one. This is something, again, we're not trying to push onto you or be super salesy about. It's just a service that a lot of our clients have been asking for a long time. And we went ahead and decided to build it. And when we did it, we wanted to do it the right way, as accessible as possible, and make it as easy for you all as possible. So I will stop talking. Hannah, do you have any final wrap-up comments here?
Yes, thank you so much, Thomas. Everyone say thank you, Thomas. Round of applause.
Oh no.
Thank you everyone so much for joining. We wanted to keep this one short and sweet for you. So again, to reiterate, if we did not specifically address your question, don't worry, we are not ignoring you. I will have this entire chat history to access and go back through and email you all directly. If you had a question that was specific to your website, that's one that's tough to answer on the fly, so we'll get back to you. Or if there was a question that, maybe things are still in development with this tool that we couldn't get a specific answer to you at this very moment, we will be reaching out. So don't worry. We see all of your comments and questions. We will get back to you directly. I have the chat history and everyone's emails. So if we don't get back to you quick enough, though, again, feel free to email us, thomas@revize.com. hannah@revize.com. I'll get you to the right person, interested at revize.com, or you can just go to our website and schedule a demo if you'd like to look at this more in depth and talk more specifically on how it can integrate with your personal, well, not personal, your entity's website. Um, Okay, thank you all so much. We'll be excited to see you back for the newsletter app webinar later in May. Hopefully you all will join for that and lots more to come. It's spring and summer, so I'm excited. It's warm weather, hopefully where you're at, and I hope everyone has a great Thursday and a great weekend. Thank you guys. Bye-bye.